So the WBO has mandated Usyk versus Parker, and it's a huge moment for Joseph Parker. And it's great to see him potentially get that recognition if this fight goes forward. I'll be glad in 20, 30 years when I'm going back and looking at the list of all the undisputed title fights, the lineal heavyweight championship, the history of all the belts, that Joseph Parker's name will be in that discussion as having fought for that lineal undisputed heavyweight title. But I'm very hesitant to believe this fight's actually going to happen. And controversially, I think the fight that is going to happen, and that's a fight against Ajit Kabayel, is a better fight. I think it's a better fight for the Saudis especially. I think it's a better fight for Alexander Usyk's financial future. And I think it's a better fight in pure boxing terms. Unfortunately, I think that Joseph Parker is a very similar fighter to Alexander Usyk. Except a lot of the things that Joseph Parker does really, really well, Usyk does perfectly. It's always harsh to say that one fighter is a better version of another, but I ultimately think that when Alexander Usyk faces off against Joseph Parker, you're going to see that reality. And that's what makes the fight unmarketable. It's not Joseph Parker being in the fight. I think Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, I think many boxing fans were looking forward to that fight. I think Joseph Parker's lack of career marketability has a lot more to do with a lack of marketable names in the heavyweight division and a lack of marketable names in the heavyweight division willing to fight Joseph Parker for a lot of his career. I don't think that's Joseph Parker's fault. And Joseph Parker deserved this undisputed heavyweight shot, but it's not a fight he's going to win, and I think the public know that. I think boxing fans know that. They don't expect this to be a competitive fight. It just feels like a one-sided unanimous decision for Alexander Usyk, like the two Fury fights were. And most importantly, Ajit Kabayel has a tool, has a weapon that can counter Usyk. Usyk's weakness, if he has one, is body punching, and Kabayel is the best body puncher in the heavyweight division. If there is one person in the division who can beat Usyk, who can knock out Usyk, in my opinion, it is Kabayel. So that's the fight that you make. And a lot of people are going to assign it if that is what ends up happening. If Turki Al-Sheikh comes in, if Riyadh season comes in and puts on Usyk versus Kabayel and Parker doesn't get a shot, if that's what happens, a lot of people are going to make it about ethnicity, about race, about religion. And say that Turki Al-Sheikh and the Saudis are picking Kabayel based on them wanting a Middle Eastern face in boxing, a big Middle Eastern star in boxing. But I just don't think that's actually the primary factor. I think with Dubois, they were looking for somebody who could beat Usyk, and they're still looking for someone who could beat Usyk. And I don't think Turki Al-Sheikh sees that in Joseph Parker because Turki Al-Sheikh knows boxing. He knows which fighters have what skill sets, and he understands that Usyk's skill set is superior to Parker's in too many ways for Parker to realistically have a chance to win the fight. And it's true, Parker has a longer resume, but this isn't about resumes. This is about current matchups. Usyk is getting older. You need to match him up with the best fighters in their prime while Usyk is still in his prime. And I think Kabayel has the best chance in his division to do what I thought Dubois would do before the Usyk fight and take the lead against Usyk and get Usyk tired. Get Usyk worn out and make him feel his age. Make him feel his years in the ring. And speaking of years in the ring, that's another problem with the Joseph Parker matchup. Joseph Parker has a lot more damage on him than Ajit Kabayel, and that's something you always have to consider when you're putting somebody in against Alexander Usyk. Because Alexander Usyk is going to deal them a lot more damage. Ask Tyson Fury. Well, he'd probably lie to you and say that he won. But the look on Tyson Fury's face after he fought Usyk and while he was fighting Usyk tells you all you need to know about how hard Usyk hits. Or even better, ask Daniel Dubois. Ask a lot of people. Ask a lot of people. Ask every great heavyweight of this era. And yeah, Kabayel could be next. Absolutely. Kabayel could lose to Usyk. But even in a loss, I think there's more trilogy potential with Kabayel. And I think that's what the money people, that's what the Saudis, that's what Usyk, I think, ultimately even will really care about, is the trilogy potential. Because I actually don't think Usyk's going to be done anytime soon. It doesn't feel like a situation where he's only got one more fight. Just the fact that there's even an entertainment of this third Fury fight, which is ludicrous to me because Usyk won the first 2 fights soundly. And especially if Kabayel can find that big body shot and win the first fight, the second fight would be historic. The second fight would sell itself if Kabayel wins the first. I guess that's true of Parker too, but again, the path for Parker is just not clear to me. Everybody has a puncher's chance, and of course a great boxer like Parker has a puncher's chance, but I'm just saying I see Parker versus Usyk as like 85-15 for Usyk. I see Kabayel Usyk as more of a 65-35, maybe even a 60-40.